गुरुवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः. First of all, offer my millions of obeisances to lotus feet of Asmade Guru Pad Padma, Nitila Prashta Jagat Guru Shishan Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Tirandi Swami Shishan Bhaktivedanta Dandi Maharaj Nam Nishta Santa Shri Aniruddhas Prabhuji, all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, please accept my humble obeisances. Reading from Śrī Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛtam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, Text 200. पृथिव्या साधवा सर्वे मिलिता यत्र वर्गशः प्रेम्णोन्मत्ता वेक्षन्ते नृत्यगीतादितत्परः. पृथिव्या of the world, sadhava saintly persons, sarve all, militaha assembling, yatra whereupon, vargashah in groups, premna out of divine love, unmattaha extremely intoxicated, eva as if, ikshante were seen, nritya in dancing, gita singing, adi and so forth, tat paraha absorbed in that love. At that time, at the time of that festival, Gundicha Yatra, almost all the saintly persons and Vaishnavas from all over the world assembled in Purushottam Kshetra. According to rules of their own spiritual lineage, they danced and sang in front of the Lord, either in groups or individually. They could then be seen becoming maddened in divine love. Digdarshini Tika, the Brahman might ask, how was this festival celebrated? In response, Shri Gopkumar speaks the verse beginning with Prithivya. He says, for this grand Gundicha Mahayatra, saintly persons and Vaishnavas of all spiritual lineages or sampradayas converged on Purushottam Kshetra. Some stayed alone and others stayed in groups according to the principles of each individual lineage. During the festival, all of them danced and sang in front of the Lord and became fully submerged in ecstasy, reaching the state of divine madness. The assembled pilgrims were immensely fortunate to witness all this. Verse 201. Rajyam rajyopabhogyam cha Jagannātha-padaబ్jayo samarpya kinchanatvena sevam kurveni yechaya. Rajyam, kingdom, Raj, royal, Upabhogyam, opulences, Cha, and Jagannatha of Śrī Jagannāth, Pada Abjayoho, at the lotus feet, Samarpya, offering Akincanatvena, because of having no material possessions, Sevam, service, Kurve, I rendered, Nija Ichhaya, by my own desire, offered the kingdom and all royal opulences at Śrī Jagannātha-deva's lotus feet. Now, being without material possessions, I began to see him as I desired. The Brahman might be thinking, despite his contact with the sense objects of his vast kingdom, how was Gopakumar able to continue serving his worshipable deity, Śrī Jagannath? To address the doubt, to address this doubt, Sri Gopakumar speaks this verse beginning with Rajyam. He says, offering the kingdom and all objects of sense enjoyment at Sri Jagannātha-deva's lotus feet, I began to serve him as if I were in a destitute condition, as before. As I had previously behaved, I began to humbly serve the Lord like one without possessions. I relinquished false pride and the prestige connected with the kingdom, and whenever I had the desire to serve the Lord, I did so as I wished. The statement proves that Gopakumar ruled the kingdom and was superintendent of all the Lord's servitors. Verse 202. Nijahi priyatamair nitya sevakai sah sah prabhu narma goshtham vitanute prema kridam chakarhichit. Nijai, his own, Priyatamahi, most beloved, Nitya Sevakahi, regular servitors, Sah, with Sah, he, Prabhu, the Lord, Narma, joking, Goshtim, words, with Anute, would engage, Prema, loving, Kridam, pastimes, Cha, and Karhichit, sometimes. Jagannath Dev would sometimes engage in jolly talks, smiling and joking with his beloved regular servitors, and would perform various loving pastimes with them. Digdarshini Tika. Now Sri Gopakumar explains how, by the Lord's desire, he developed indifference to residing in Purushottam Kshetra, and how he abandoned the kingdom to go to Shri Vrindavan to obtain Shri Jagannātha-deva's special mercy. He says the Lord would shower mercy on his beloved servitors, that is, with his beloved permanent servitors, all indigenous residents of Utkal. He would smile, joke, and perform loving pastimes. However, since the Lord did not show that same favor to me, I became unhappy and indifferent. In the next four verses, beginning here with Nijai, he reveals the cause of his mental distress. Here, the term beloved, permanent servitors refers to those servants of the Lord who had taken birth in a family lineage of servants of Sri Jagannātha-deva. Alternatively, it can be understood that since the servitors were constantly engaged in the Lord's service, they were his permanent beloved servants. वर्ष 203 यदा वा लीलया स्थाणु भावं भजति कौतुकी प्रणन्तस्तथापि साश्चर्यास्ते तल्लीलानुसारिणा yada when va or lilaya by his pastime sthanu bhavam perfectly motionless bhajati he would become kautuki being playful prina prinati feeling love athapi then sa ashwarya astonished they tad leela of his pastimes anusarinaha following in the mood thus engaged in this loving play the frolicsome lord would sometimes become perfectly motionless. His servitors, becoming astonished at this wonder, would follow in the mood of those pastimes and thus attain supreme bliss. Sri Gokumar says, only sometimes would the Lord perform his loving pastimes, not always. This is the purport of the word Karhichit from the previous verse. The Brahman might then ask, if the Lord did not always perform those loving pastimes, how can one understand that his regular servants were supremely happy? To address this doubt, Gopakumar says, although Shri Jagannath-deva would be motionless and accept a mood of silence, still the playful Lord would engage in various jovial amusements with his beloved personal servants. In other words, when the Lord as a pastime would sometimes accept a silent mood or would become motionless, even then with great wonder his beloved servants would follow in the mood of all those pastimes and become immersed in paramount bliss. This is because in amazement they would think, just now the Lord exhibited the pastime of a restless child, which filled our hearts with amazement, but now here he has assumed his stationary silent disposition. The Brahmanas might now wonder if this is the case, in spite of losing their previous happiness, did the distress of the Lord's servants become mollified? Gopkumar replies, the devotees always follow the Lord's pastimes. Whatever pastimes the Lord performs, the devotees reciprocate with those same pastimes. Therefore, they experience only great joy in their hearts by the loving behavior of their Lord. Alternatively, it can be said, how did the devotees act in this situation? Gopkumar answers, the devotees acted in a manner suitable to those pastimes. Whenever the Lord enacted his static silent pastime, the devotees acted in a manner appropriate to that pastime. Text 204 ममापि तत्राशा स्याद् अथागन्तुको अस्मि अहं तदेकनिष्ठो नापि स्याम कथम तत्तत् prasadavak mama of me api however tatra occasionally asha the desire syat may come atha then agantuka a newcomer asmi I am aham I tat to him Ekanistha exclusively devoted, no, not api, however, Syam, I should be, Katham, why, Tat Prasada of his variegated mercy, Bhak, a recipient. Sometimes I also would want to participate in those pastimes of laughing and joking with the Lord. But I would think, I am just a newcomer, and besides, I am not exclusively devoted to him. How then can I become the recipient of his special mercy? Shri Gopkumar says, I also yearn sometimes to participate in similar amusing conversations and pastimes of smiling and joking with Shri Jagannātha-deva. However, on reflection, I realized it was inappropriate for an unfit person like me to have such a desire, but because I was envious, Irsha, I was unable to control it. When I would think of the good fortune of Sri Jagannath Dev's beloved permanent servitors from Utkal, I would also develop a desire to be like them. The Brahman might say, due to that desire, you must certainly have been experiencing distress in your heart. To address this, Gopakumar speaks 7 verses, beginning here with Atha. He says, as I had arrived there only recently, I was not the Lord's permanent servitor. Moreover, I did not possess fixed devotion to the Lord of Nilachal because in my heart I was extremely attached to the land of Raja and Śrī Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛtam. So, how could I receive the special mercy of witnessing and participating in those indescribable pastimes of joking words with the Lord of Nilachal? Alternatively, Gopkumar is also saying, witnessing the great fortune of Sri Jagannath, Dev's beloved devotees, I felt sad because I was not blessed in the same way. Text 205. तथाप्युत्कल भक्तानां तत्तत् सौभाग्य भावनै संजन्यमानया तत्तत् आशयाधिकिलोद्भवेत्. Tathapi still Utkala of Orissa Bhaktanam of the devotees Tattat Saubhagya of their varied good fortune Bhavanai on account of my thoughts Sanjaya Manaya manifesting Tat Tat Ashaya desire for those various good fortunes. Adhi distress, killer indeed, Udbhavet would arise. When I thought about the good fortune of the Utkal devotees, in my heart I hankered to also receive it. However, this desire also caused distress to my heart. Shiv Gopkumar says, however, as soon as I thought about the Utkal devotees' good fortune in being able to joke with Sri Jagannātha-deva, I would also develop a desire for similar mercy. Text 206. नाम संकीर्तन स्तोत्र गीतानि भगवत्पुरः श्रूयमाणानि दुन्वन्ति मथुरा स्मारकाणि माम्. Nam Sankirtana, loud chanting of the holy names, Stotra, recitation of prayers, Gitani, devotional songs, Bhagavad Puraha, before the Lord, Shruyamanani, while hearing, Dunvanti, these would disturb, Mathura Smarakani, causing of remembering Vrajabhumi, Mam, me. Whenever I heard Nama Sankirtan, recitation of stotras and devotional songs performed before Bhagavan Shri Jagannātha-deva, memories of Mathura would flood my mind, making me restless with yearnings. Shri Gopkumar continues, Nam Sankirtan or congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord, comprised of names such as Shri Mathuranath, Shri Vrindavan Chandra, and Shri Govardhan Dhari, would be sung before Shri Jagannath-deva. There was also recitation of prayers composed by ancient as well as contemporary poets and the singing of devotional narrations and songs melodiously accompanied by appropriate rhythm. Hearing this, I would remember Mathura and my eagerness to go there would grow. And then I would lose my composure and become agitated. Thus, grieving in separation from Mathura, my mind would fill with pain. Verse 207 Sadhu Sangha Balad Gatva Drushte Rajiva Lochane Sarva Shoko Viliyeta Nasyajigam Isha Kochit. Sadhu of the devotees, Sango of the association, Balat by the power, Gatva having gone. Drushte was seen, Rajiva Lochane when the lotus-eyed Lord, Sarvaha, all, Shokaha, my grief, Viliyeta would vanish, no, not, Syat is, Jigimisha, desire to go Kochit at all. However, by the influence of saintly association and by seeing lotus-eyed Sri Jagannath, all my grief and desire to go anywhere else would vanish. Shiv Gopkumar continues, due to the mercy of the sadhus, all my anguish would dissipate when I had darshan of Śrī Jagannātha-deva, who is the embodiment of all types of bliss. Nevertheless, I was still responsible for the kingdom, and therefore the happiness I experienced upon seeing Śrī Jagannath would not be complete as it was before. However, by the influence of saintly association, sadhu sangha, all my distress would abate, and simultaneously my desire to go elsewhere would also diminish. Verse 208. तथापि मम साम्राज्य संपर्केण हृदि स्वतः भगवद्दर्शनानंदा सम्यक नोदेति पूर्ववत्. Tathapi, however, my samrajya with affairs of the kingdom, samparkena, due to connection, rudhi in my heart, swataha, spontaneous, bhagavad darshana, at the sight of the Lord, ananda, joy, samyak, complete, na, not, udeti, would arise, purvavat, as in the past. However, due to my connection with the affairs of the kingdom in my heart, I would not experience the complete joy of darshan of Bhagavan that I used to experience naturally in the past. Shri Gopkumar says, my grief would diminish by the influence of Sadhu Sangha and the divine vision of Shri Jagannātha-deva. And I did not desire to go elsewhere, but still because of my imperial responsibilities, the intensity of pleasure from Shri Jagannath Dev's darshan would not naturally and spontaneously manifest in my heart as it did before. Only sometimes, by the influence of saintly association, would I experience that same bliss when I saw the Lord. As I had offered the kingdom and everything to Shri Jagannath Dev's lotus feet, I had only a nominal relationship with the kingdom. For this reason, the word samparka, meaning contact, has been used. Verse 209. Yatra mahotsavanshaham आवृतो राजमंडलै सुखम कलयितुम नेशे स्वेच्छया बहुधा भजन. यात्रा महोत्सवांश्चाहम आवृतो राजमंडलै सुखम कलयितुम नेशे स्वेच्छया बहुधा भजन. Yatra at the Rath Yatra, Maha Utsavan and great festivals. Cha also Aham I, Avrutaha surrounded Rajamandalai by royal entourage. Sukham happiness, Kalaitum to engage, Na Ishe I was not able, Swaichaya as I pleased, Bahuda in many ways, Bhajan while practicing devotional activities. Always surrounded by royal entourage and unable to do as I pleased, I could not fully enjoy the yatras and other such grand festivals. Moreover, in spite of engaging in devotional service in so many ways, I did not experience complete happiness. Shri Gopkumar elaborates, I began to serve Shri Jagannath Dev in various ways according to my desire. I would offer many services, from sweeping the path in front of his chariot up to washing his lotus face and offering him tambul and so on. In spite of serving and worshipping him in a varieties of ways, I did not experience the joy I experienced before. Verse 210. Radnyo apatyashvamateshu bandhushvapi samarpyatam rajyavaram swayam prag udadasinataya stita. Ragya of the king, Apatteshu on the sons, Amatteshu on the ministers, Bandhushu on the relatives, Api also, Samarpya reposing, Tam that, Rajya of the kingdom, Bharam burden, Swayam voluntarily, Prakvat as before, Udasinataya because of my state of detachment, Sita situated. So I placed the burden of the kingdom on the sons, relatives, and ministers of the previous king, and I became as uninvolved and indifferent as before. Shri Gopkumar says, I thought, therefore, it is appropriate to completely renounce all responsibilities of the kingdom. Arriving at this conclusion, I surrendered all imperial duties to the king's sons, relatives, and ministers and became as detached as before. In other words, I freed myself from all relationships and began to live in a humble mood. Verse 211. सुखम रहो जपम कुर्वन् जगन्नाथ पदाब्जयो समीपे स्वेच्छया सेवाम आचरन् वसंतता. Sukham, happily, Raha, in a solitary place, Japam, chanting, Kurvan, doing, Jagannath, of Śrī Jagannātha, Pada Abjayo, the lotus feet, Samipe, near, So Ichchaya, by my own desire, Sevam, service, Acharan, performing, Avasam, I resided, Tataha, then. Because I was chanting my mantra in a solitary place, my mind remained peaceful, and I began to live there, serving Śrī Jagannath's lotus feet as I desired. Shri Gopakumar says, from then onwards, I began chanting in solitude as I had previously contemplated doing. Elaborating on this, he says, after relinquishing the burden of running the kingdom, I began to live in a detached manner as before. Moreover, the result of chanting my mantra in a solitary place was that mentally I began to become peaceful. This indicates that previously, due to Gopakumar's connection with the affairs of the kingdom, he was unable to happily accomplish his chanting in a solitary place. Verse 2 and 2. तथापि लोक सम्मानादर तस्तादृशं सुखं न लभेय विनिर्विण्ण मनास्तत्राभवं स्थितौ. Tatapi still loka of the people, sammana honor, adarata because of respect, tadrusham such sukham happiness, na laveya I could not get, vinirvinna manaha extremely morose at heart, tatra there, abhavan I became stita while staying. However, because the citizens continued to respect and honor me, I did not feel the happiness I felt before. Therefore, I began to feel indifferent to living there. Shri Gokumar says, although I began residing there, engaging in devotional service as I liked, the indescribable happiness I had previously experienced was gone. Although I refused to accept people's honor and worship, they still continued to revere me, and for this reason I could not feel the same happiness as before. This is why I lost interest in staying in Purushottam Kshetra, and in my mind there arose a strong urge to go to Śrī Vrindavan. Verse 213. गन्तुं वृन्दावनं प्रातर आज्ञार्थं पुरतः प्रभो गतः श्रीमन्मुखं पश्यन् सर्वं तद् विस्मराम्यहो. Gantum to go, Vrindavanam to Vrindavan, Prata early in the morning, Agya take permission, Artham intending to, Purataha before, Prabho the Lord, Gataha gone, Srimat Mukham his lotus face, Pashyan seeing, Sarvam all, Tat that, Vismarami I forgot, Aho, oh. Early one morning I came before Śrī Jagannātha-deva intending to take his permission to go to Śrī Vrindavan, Aho, aha. As soon as I saw his lotus face, I forgot everything. The Brahman might ask, if this was the state of your heart, why did you not go to your cherished Mathura in the land of Vraja, which is so charming, it is so charming it seals the mind? In reply, Shri Gopkumar speaks this verse beginning with Gantum. He says, with amazement, I thought, oh, I renounce the land of Vraja simply to receive darshan of this Lord of the universe. Now that I have obtained him in person, how can I abandon him? If he showers special grace by taking me to Sri Vrindavan, his most beloved place of pastimes, then the distress that my heart is feeling because of living in Jagannath Puri will vanish. However, without his direct order, it is improper to go anywhere. Pondering my thoughts in this way, I would visit Sri Jagannātha. However, on seeing his lotus face, I would immediately forget all my mental agony as well as my intention to beg his permission to go elsewhere. So, how was it possible for me to go to the land of Braja? Verse 214. एवं संवत्सरे जाते मया तत्रैकदा श्रुतं मथुराया प्रायातेभ्यो अत्रत्यवृत्तं विशेषतः. एवं thus संवत्सरे 1 year जाते went by maya by me tatra there ekada one day shrutam I heard mathurayah from Mathura prayatebhya from some pilgrims atratya from this place, Vritam, an account, Visheshata in detail. In this way, 1 year went by. Then one day I heard news of Mathura from some people who had come from there. Shri Gopakumar says, in this way, then 1 year had passed. Some people hailing from other regions arrived in Shri Purushottam Kshetra after visiting Mathura, and I heard a detailed account of Sri Mathura from them. Especially I listened to descriptions of the abundant beauty of the pastime places such as Sri Vrindavan and Govardhan, and the cows, cowherders, gopas, deer, birds and trees there. Verse 215. Doka shoka dukkhaturam ratrau shayanam mam mahaprabhu idam ajñapayamasa paradukkhena katara. Shock of grief, dukkha by distress, aturam tormented, ratro at night, shayanam fell asleep, me, Mahaprabhu, Śrī Jagannātha-deva, idam this, ajñapayamas, ajñapayam asa, gave an order, per of others, dukkhena by my suffering, katara pained. After hearing those descriptions, I was tormented by distress and grief and fell asleep that night. As I was sleeping, Śrī Jagannātha-deva, who is pained by the suffering of others, gave me the following order. Śrī Gopakumar says, after hearing those narrations, I was tormented at heart by sorrow and anguish, and so I went to sleep. In a dream, Śrī Jagannātha-deva, who is pained by the distress of others, commanded me as follows. The order begins in this verse with the word idam and continues through the next 3 verses. Here, paradukha katara means he who is anguished and compelled by the distress of others, even of his enemies. In other words, the Lord cannot tolerate anyone's distress. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhuvasya patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namah.